Thank you very much. If the previous part was an overview of the vital role of capital, then this part is the time for us to take a closer look at the question, where is the boundary between cutting losses and stubbornness? That is the question that many people carry with them on their trading journey, but few people really dare to face it. Because sometimes, we think we are persistent, but in fact we are stubborn. Sometimes, we think we are letting the market breathe, but in fact we are letting go of the risk. I once heard a story from a friend of mine. A trader survived 3 years in a volatile market, thanks to a single rule. Always know how much you will lose before entering a trade. He never enters a trade without a clear stop loss, never increases the volume just because he has won a few consecutive trades. And especially, he never breaks his own capital management principles, not even once. One time, while analyzing the 4-hour gold chart, he saw a setup that was so beautiful that he was confused. But according to his strategy, to enter this order would exceed the allowable risk limit. He sat and watched the price move as predicted, but still did not enter. When I asked him if he regretted it, he just smiled and said no, because if he kept regretting the orders that were not placed, he would not have survived until today. That is courage. And that courage does not come from technical analysis knowledge. It comes from experience, from losing money, from losing your account because of an order without a stop loss, from sleepless nights because you were burned out by overconfidence in your intuition. Holding on to capital, after all, is the behavior of someone who knows that he can be wrong. And only when you accept that fact, will you begin to mature in this market. Many people enter orders with the mindset that they are sure they are right, so when the price goes against them, they do not accept the stop loss, they move the stop loss further, they erase the stop loss completely. They hope that the price will turn around. And then, little by little, the account is drained like someone is being deprived of oxygen, suffocating without knowing why. I call it the illusion of invincibility. Have you ever had that? Have you ever thought that the market cannot go against you for that long? Have you ever told yourself that it is just a correction, it will recover? Have you ever added more money just to keep the position alive? If so, you are walking very close to a cliff where one slip can cost you everything. Throughout my time observing and talking to many traders, from those who are new to the market to those who have survived for more than 10 years, I have drawn a common point. They never win because of a big win. They survive and continue because they know they can lose. And they accept small losses. Someone told me, I always have a stop loss on every trade because I never bet my life on an uncertain scenario. What about you? Are you going all in on a trade? Are you trading with the belief that the harder you try, the more you survive? If your account lost 20% today, would you stop and see what you did wrong? Or would you continue trading to recover? We all know that the market is full of opportunities. What is lacking is the clarity to see where you are in the emotional maelstrom. Holding capital is a way to force yourself to sit back, observe, and act strategically. It is a buoy in the ocean of price waves. Without capital, all other skills are meaningless. Imagine a diver. Before going into the water, he checks his oxygen tank. No one dares to dive deep when he knows that his oxygen tank is half full, unless he does not want to come back alive. Traders are the same. Every order entered without knowing the risk is an act of diving deep without checking the oxygen tank. And you know what happens when oxygen runs out, right? Trading is not the art of predicting tops and bottoms. Trading is the art of survival. I know, no one wants to cut their losses. The feeling of hitting the close button in the red is painful. It is like a slap in the face. But sometimes, that slap is the only thing that wakes you up from the dream of winning. And by the time you start to wonder, is this order killing me slowly? That's when you've matured a little. Holding your capital is about picking your battles. Not every battle is worth taking. Not all signals are worth believing. Try spending a week just observing without entering a trade. Feel the difference between impatience and readiness. You will see, there are times when it is best to stay out. And remember, what preserves capital still preserves hope. There is a paradoxical truth in the market. The more you want to make money fast, the sooner you lose money. Most people who are new to trading often ask how to win big. What is the ideal profit rate? What is the most effective strategy? Very few people ask how to avoid blowing up their account. How to save money to continue learning after each mistake. And that is the difference between the survivors and the quitters. Trading, if you want to go the long way, cannot rely on inspiration. It requires a capital preservation strategy, like the way people build a solid house to protect them from the rain and sun for a lifetime. And to do that, there are 3 first bricks you need to lay the foundation. 1. Limit the risk for each trade. It sounds simple, but most people overlook this. They enter trades emotionally, place a losing streak randomly, or don't even place a losing streak, and then console themselves that I'll exit at the right time. But the market doesn't wait for you at the right time. In any capital preservation strategy, you need to determine in advance how much you are willing to lose per trade if it goes wrong. Not after the trade is entered, but before. This limit should be a small percentage of your account. Many people recommend 1 to 2%. You can be flexible, depending on your tolerance, but never let a wrong order cause your account to evaporate 10 or 20%. Remember, it's okay to make mistakes. But if you make one mistake and fail, you will have no chance to fix it. Second, clearly identify the loss point according to market logic. Many people place a whole forest just because it is a round number, a random distance, or after the trade is entered. This is like driving without knowing where the brakes are. The whole forest must be placed where it is certain that if it reaches there, your analysis is wrong. For example, if you buy because you believe the price is at a support zone, the whole should be below that support zone, where if it is broken, the trend has reversed. To do this, you need to understand market structure, price zones, price behavior. Not to complicate things, but to make the whole a protective tool, not a limit, a random one. And sometimes, just a little bit of subtlety makes a difference. I once knew a guy who traded very disciplined, risking only 1% of his account per trade. But, what was special was, he always waited for the price to touch a high probability area, where there was a confluence of support, cumulative volume and afternoon candlestick patterns. His losses were only a few pips away, but his profit ratio was usually more than 3 times the risk. That year, when the gold market fell sharply from $3,000 to $2,800, he was a rare person who not only survived but also made steady profits. Why? Because he entered each order like a soldier, with a plan, an exit point, and a clear head, not being swept away by the big waves. 3. Accept to stay out when the market is unclear. Keeping capital is not only about losing money, but also knowing how to stay out. Many people are afraid of missing out on opportunities, so they keep placing orders, even when they are not sure. They call it market sentiment. But really, it's just impatience. The market doesn't always give clear signals. Some days it is chaotic without trend or full of psychological traps. If you are not patient enough, you will fall prey to it. There are times when it is best to do nothing. A veteran trader once told me, if you stay out for a few days, you will realize that not losing money is also a form of victory. And I remember that forever. Keeping capital is not only about action, but also about discipline in not taking action. The strategy of keeping capital is not fancy, not flashy, but it is the foundation. You may not find it attractive, it does not promise huge profits, it does not create excitement, like doubling your account in a few days. But it is the reason that helps you survive, overcome strong waves and continue to stand in the market after many years. Imagine, if you lose 7 trades in a row, each losing 2%, your account is still close to 85%. But if you lose 3 trades, each losing 20%, you are less than half. The difference is not how many times you are right, but how you handle mistakes.